Looking for clarity and confidence when it comes to decision making for your business? You've come to the right place. You're now listening to the Atomic Business Coaching Podcast.
What's up, Tom?
What's going on, Adam? How are you?
Good. Had a crazy day. End of the year, wrapping everything up. And I was with a client from one of my other businesses, and I got a chance to meet his brother, who's from London, who I've worked with their family for almost a decade. Never met him before. And his name's Adam as well. So it was cool, but I thought it was going to be like an hour. It ended up being a 2-hour meeting. So I'm a little wiped.
Those wipe you out, right? I mean,
yeah, especially at the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's everybody towards the end of the year is either fully energized and ready to take it all on, and other people are just in slow down mode and ready to call it a day. And I thought that would be a great topic for us to talk about today. It's funny, Adam and I pick our topics, and when we pick our topics, we usually get inspiration either before or after. And this actually came after. You sent me a TikTok where there was this guy doing a little skit with the boss and talking about how, you know, people are in slow down mode versus being in wanting to crush it and to really kill the end of the year and achieve all their goals. So I think it's an important topic for us to talk about because as purple collar professionals, we do have those two choices. We can choose to crush it and kill it, or we can take the option and slow down. And it's really going to be industry specific and where your energy is going to be best spent for the rest of the year, especially that we're in the last 2 weeks of 2023, which I can't believe already. So, you know, what do you like to do at this time of the year? Do you like to crush it or you like to slow it down?
It usually depends on how my year is. So,
Right.
You know, if I've had a really good year, actually, I guess there's a variety of things that happen. So if I've had a really good year and I'm exhausted, right, I would put these in four different quadrants, right?
Okay.
If I've had a really good year, but I'm exhausted, I'm like, okay, I deserve this. I'm good. I can take this break. I can take the last week and be with my family and everything else. So that's one. If I've had a really good year and I'm energized, like I don't want to stop. I'm like, there's momentum here. Let's keep going.
Yep.
So those are the top two quadrants. A really good year. Bottom two would be if I had a really bad year. Right. So I had a really bad year, but I have this energy, right? And a lot of the energy comes from the excitement of it's over and I get to start anew, you know? So it's like, all right, had a bad year, but that calendar is going to change. I got another chance and let's go ahead. And then the last one is I had a bad year and I'm drained, right?
Yeah,
and at that point, it's avoiding depression and like overeating during the holidays and, you know, just really not procrastinating, but neglecting everything I'm supposed to do. And so I would say for me, it's one of those four each and every year.
I love that, man. I love how you broke all of that down into four very easy ways to think about it. You know, it's really based on a good year versus a bad year and where your energy level is at that point and whether it's time to take that break to refresh yourself and to avoid thinking about the business for a little bit. But, you know, for me, the last week of the year, you know, that Christmas week, that time off is everybody's used to having that week off. You know, we get used to that when we're in school, not business owners, but, you know, when we're younger, we get used to it. And a lot of people have, you know, they decide to take their vacation that time of year. And, you know, one of the things that I would really encourage people to do is to, whatever you do, whether you slow down or you take, you know, you're working constantly through that last week, take the time for your family where you need to take the time for your family. Take the time to, you know, put some stuff aside and make a little bit more time for your family during that time. Because what is the point of all of this, right? We work so hard throughout the course of the year. And sometimes we get caught up in that hustle and bustle. And sometimes we have to acknowledge that we may have the energy to kill it in our business, but we also have to use that time that our family may be off and they're not doing much, that we want to spend more time with them. And that's such a great way to end the year and to begin a new year, is focused on family. And that's really for me where I sit in this week, in this last week that's coming up. I really love the family time that comes about. But that doesn't mean we're not going to answer the phone if the business line rings. Doesn't mean that we're not going to go out, and if a new lead comes in, that we're not going to call that person and try to make a sale. It doesn't mean that business stops. It just means that we're taking that time for other things that we maybe throughout the course of the year have not taken the time for.
So why'd you want to talk about it?
Well, I think it's such an important thing to talk about because as a purple collar professional, I think you get caught up in the midst of, you could either slow down or you can really crush it. And I think what happens for a lot of purple collar professionals is they have this extreme guilt when they try to slow it down or when they try to take that well-deserved break. And I think that's really the essence is, you don't want to feel guilty about taking the time, especially at this time of the year. If you are in that, if you've had a bad year, like you said before, if you've had a bad year and you're just done and you need the time to refresh, don't feel guilty about taking that time for yourself and for your family. Don't feel guilty about that. Make sure that you understand why you're taking that time and why you're giving yourself that time. And that was really the big thing. And if you're not crushing it, if you don't feel like crushing it, I don't want you to feel guilty about not crushing it, because when guilt comes into play, we become harsh judges of who we are. And I've been going through my own harsh judgment of myself over the last week. Like over the weekend, I was not feeling well and it was really hard for me to do anything. And I felt a little guilty because I was still awake, right? And as business owners, you're still awake. You could still do something. But I think what happens is, and I was talking to a few of our clients who are also feeling guilty for taking some time, but I wish I had your 4 quadrants when speaking to them, because it really is a great example of how you can move forward and really think about, why do I want to slow down or why do I want to speed up?
Yeah, but there's positives to all 4 of those, right? So
exactly.
It's not like there's a positive or a negative. And I'm a silver linings guy, right? I'm always the perpetual optimist. And I think there's no issues. There's no problems. There's no things that go wrong. There's really not. I mean, that's how I approach everything. That's probably why a lot of our clients are so successful, because no matter what comes up, I'm excited about it. Mm-hmm. They're like, what do you mean? Why are you excited about that? I'm like, I'll tell you why. And then because you got to look at it from a different perspective. So that's how I would look at those 4. Like, all right, so let's say you had a good year. Okay. And you're energized, right? Both of them. Well, what does that mean? Why would that be a positive?
If you had a good year and energized, well, I think you have momentum at that point. I mean, you're in full swing. That's a positive momentum. You've really, you've exceeded what probably you sought out to do. And now it's like, why stop the momentum? It's like, it's a why not? Why not keep going? And that just adrenalizes you and puts you in a great place to go into the next year, to not take that break.
Sure, but people could think about it the other way. I'm energized. I had a good year, and now I deserve the time off, and I could do all the things that I want to do. Right? So here's the key. When you're looking at I've had a good year and I'm energized. Well, that means now you've given yourself more freedom to make the choice that you want to make. Okay? Yeah. And that's the point. Do I want to refresh, or do I want to, charge hard and go forward with it? Well, if you've had a good year and you have the energy, that means now you've given yourself the opportunity to make whatever choice you want. You could do, just all family stuff and go all in and be there. Okay. Or you can go all in on your business. But that's the positive side of this. Okay. What if you've had a really good year, but you're exhausted, Tom?
If you had a really good year and you're exhausted, it's a great time to make the choice to just take a break and to celebrate your success and do the things that maybe you really want, you've been neglecting doing with your family. And now this is a great time to do it, even for yourself, right? Like you said, it's the choice. That's where I love the whole point of the choice is to make the choice. Don't feel guilty about what choice you make. And that's the point I really want to drive home. But you're right. I mean, if you've had a great year, but you're tired, you need to come into 2024 refreshed. So
or go the other way. Here's the positive. I'm exhausted. Well, great. I get to see how I can work when I'm up against it, when I have no energy, because now it doesn't really matter. Like, you've had a great year already. It doesn't matter if you try and you fail, but you're like, all right, let's challenge myself and see where I'm at this point. Like, I really have no energy. What's my discipline look like? What's my reserve fuel tank look like? How can I push through these things? So it's an opportunity for you to choose that. Now, again, you could choose the other way.
Right.
Like, oh, it's a great time to refresh and get for 2024, but you could look at it that way. So let's go to the next one. What if you've had a really bad year, but you're energized, Tom?
If I had a really bad year and I'm energized, yeah, I'm going forward to try to restart the momentum. I'm trying to make it all happen, and I'm not going to give up. That's my perseverance. That's my grit. I think about grit in that situation where I'm just going to go ahead and do it. The hell with that. It was a bad year. Let's finish really strong. Let's finish really well.
Okay. So that's one way. Or the other way now would be, okay, I had a terrible year, but I have the energy. you know what? I have the energy to really sit down for 3 days straight and plan out my next year. I can put the energy into that and figure out what went right, what went wrong, what do I need help with? Let's build the business plan out. Here are the goals, and let's then go when January 1 hits. So see, again, with this one, there's positives all over the place.
Yeah.
And then the one that everyone is like, oh, this one's not good. I had a really bad year and I'm exhausted. What about that one, Tom?
Really bad year and I'm exhausted. My perspective would be just take the break, give yourself a moment, do stuff for yourself, and really take it so you can bring new energy, renewed energy into the next year.
Okay. Or again, I would say, here we go. I've had a really bad year and I'm freaking exhausted. Well, maybe you're recognizing that the things you were doing weren't working. That's why you're tired. If they didn't work and you're tired, none of it worked. So now it's an opportunity for you to actually re-energize yourself by looking at everything that you did and saying, well, why am I so tired? Well, because I did all this stuff and it didn't work. I did all that stuff and it didn't work. I did all these things and they didn't come to fruition. And now you can start eliminating all the distractions, all the noise. And amongst all of that, you'll probably find the one thing that did work. You had a bad year. You didn't completely fail. And inside of that, you'll probably get re-energized when you're like, holy shit, there was something that worked really well. And all of a sudden you're excited now. And then you can have a good year. So there's ways to look at each one of these situations in positives, both for charging hard and getting back into it or refreshing. It's your choice. I think that's what we're trying to get across here.
Right. You know, I'm sitting here with this huge smile on my face. For those of you who are just listening to this, so those of you who get to view it, you're going to see the huge smile that I have. I just love how we just gave you 8 different perspectives on these 4 different situations, and every single one is a positive. Every single one is a win. And that's really what it is about. It's about finding the win. You know, when we talk about leadership in your business, we talk about always looking for the road to the win. And this is where you could not only just help yourself, but these 8 different perspectives that Adam and I have just shared with you, these are what your employees may be thinking. These are what people around you are thinking, and they may be struggling to find a win. But if you're thinking constantly in that win, you're going to help somebody else and help them to be inspired to finish the year strong. No matter how that looks, it's going to be a win situation. And I just love how, you know, and that's one of the things that I love working with you is we always manage to find as many positives every single situation, even when there's a negative connotation, like you had a bad year or you have no energy. Well, what does that really open up as a win opportunity for you? And that's what we have to constantly strive for, is the opportunity. And the opportunities will be convoluted the more and more we look at it in a negative way, the more we look at it through the lens of judgment or guilt. And that's why as purple collar professionals, we don't want you to feel guilty about things. We want you to find the win-win in the situation and see the positive, because if you're always in that positive mindset, you're going to always have success no matter what. And that's the most beautiful thing about it. And I just love that.
I would then go and take those 8, write them on a piece of paper, look at them, like that feels good. It's pretty nice. And then I would set it on fire.
Why would you do that?
Because here's the deal. You can do all of it. You can charge hard through the end of the year and be even more successful, whether you had a good year or a bad year. And you can take a break and refresh and reset. There's plenty of time to do this. You're the one who's deciding what's going to be done as the business owner for the end of the year. You're the one deciding what your employees are going to do. You're the one deciding who's going to contact the clients or the customers. You're the one deciding how much work and effort you're going to put in or how much time you're going to take off. You get to choose this. So what I would highly advise is doing both. Charge hard and give yourself the ability to refresh and reset. Now, here's the unique piece, is you have more ability to do both of those at the end of the year than any other time throughout the year, because everyone is a little bit more flexible. Everyone's a little bit more lenient. Everyone's a little bit more understanding. Everyone is a little bit more generous. Everyone's a little bit more pissed off. Everyone's a little bit happier. All these things are a little bit more. So why can't you take both of those things and do a little bit more? If you want to charge hard and you call a client, say, hey, look, my year is ending, and whether you had a good or bad year, and I want to do X, Y, and Z and talk to you about A, B, and C before the year's over. they'll be a little bit more understanding. If you call someone and say, hey, look, I know we had on the books scheduled to meet the day after Christmas. I guess neither of us were really thinking about it. Why don't we both take the day off, recharge, and we'll do double the work in the new year? You could do both those things. Okay. Why not do a little bit more on everything?
I love it. Why not? Why not do it? There's no reason not to. And that's the beauty. And you can do it all. And I think that's the thing that we have to see as business owners is you really can do it all. You've worked so hard this year. You've put a lot into it. You could still continue to do and whatever is going to make you happy, whatever is going to benefit you and the business the most. And you're going to see doing both of these things is going to benefit you in some way. And
well, that's the key. Whatever's going to benefit you and the business more. That's how you should really look at this stuff.
Well, that was the mindset I put in the Facebook group this morning. Like, how does it benefit you and the business? That's the key. And that's when you're struggling and when you're starting to feel that guilt or judgment, you have to ask yourself, is this helping the business? Is this helping me as the owner of the business to do what's best for everybody involved and best for the business? Because if it's not, then don't do it. If it is, then run with it. And that's the beauty of all of this. So, with that, this is a little bit shorter than our usual podcast, but I think it's a great place to, I don't want to beat a dead horse. I think we've gotten to the point, Adam. So on that note, everyone.
Adam? What were you saying, Tom?
I was going to just, on that note, I know I preempted you. On that note, I hope everyone has a great holiday. Merry Christmas if you celebrate. And we will have a podcast come out next week. So we're not taking off just because of that. So look forward to both this week and next week. And on that note, Adam.
Listen, we're going to charge hard. We're not closing it out, but I will relax. I will enjoy it. I'm going to have a little bit more of everything. And I hope you do too. We missed it, but happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa. If you celebrate Festivus, remember Festivus is for the rest of us.
That's right.
So I'm Adam and I work on the business.
I'm Tom. I work on the owner.
Together, we are Atomic Business Coaching.
And we are in the business of helping purple collar business owners.
Look at you.
Hey.
Happy holidays, all.
Happy holidays.